When someone truly loves you in the way that God intends, they do not become a substitute for God in your life. Instead, they help you draw nearer to Him. Love that comes from God is not possessive, not self-centered, and not rooted in control. It is a love that reflects the presence of God's grace, a love that leads you toward the light, not away from it. When God sends someone into your life, the first sign is often not how they make you feel about yourself, but how they make you feel about your relationship with God. A person who truly loves you with God's kind of love will never be jealous of your faith, your prayers, or your desire to grow spiritually. Instead, they will be the first to remind you of the importance of prayer, the value of silence, and the strength that comes from trusting in the Lord. This kind of person rejoices in your journey with God. They don't pull you away from it, they encourage it. Even in their own imperfection, they point you toward the one who is perfect. They will remind you to pray not just in times of crisis, but also in times of joy. They will invite you to rest in God even when life is busy. When you are discouraged or doubting, they will not shame you or push you further into confusion. Instead, they will gently speak of God's promises, and they will sit with you in the silence until your soul finds peace again. They are not trying to be your savior. They know that only Christ can do that. But their presence will often feel like a door opening back to God when you have wandered. This kind of love does not use religious language to manipulate. It does not guilt or pressure or preach from pride. Rather, it is rooted in humility. It asks, it listens, it prays alongside you. Someone who draws you closer to God does not act as if they are spiritually superior. Instead, they walk beside you, hand in hand, as a fellow pilgrim. They know that you are both on a journey of grace and that the road is not always straight. They are not shocked by your weaknesses or puffed up by your strength. They simply love you enough to want you to live in the fullness of God's love. When someone like this enters your life, you may not notice them at first. They are not loud or dramatic. They may not even speak much about God. But somehow their presence makes you want to pray more. You find yourself being more honest with God, more aware of your need for Him, more willing to surrender. There is no accident. God uses people to awaken our spirits, to rekindle our faith, and to remind us of the quiet beauty of a holy life. Someone who truly loves you does not replace your relationship with God, they strengthen it. They don't need to be center stage. They don't need to be adored. They simply want what is good for you, truly good, eternally good, and they know that there is no greater good than the love of God. They will pray for you even when you don't know it. They will intercede in silence, asking God to heal you, protect you, and guide you. They may never say it out loud, but their prayers will carry you through valleys you never thought you could survive. Love that leads you closer to God is a love that mirrors His own. It is patient, kind, and humble. It does not push but invites. It does not demand but gives. It does not overshadow but lifts you up. In their love, you begin to understand what it means to be loved by God, unconditionally, gently, powerfully. You begin to pray not just for them but with them. You begin to believe again, hope again, love. When you begin to see that this love sent by God is not just a gift, it is a glimpse of heaven on earth. In a world that constantly measures people by outward appearances, achievements, or social status, it is easy to forget that our true worth lies not in what we have or what we do, but in who we are in the eyes of God. When someone truly loves you in the way that reflects God's own love, they see more than your image, your performance, or your reputation. They see your soul. They see the quiet goodness within you, even when you cannot see it yourself. This is not the love that flatters or idolizes. It is the love that recognizes the sacred dignity you carry simply by being a child of God. A person sent by God to love you will not be impressed by shallow things. They may notice your smile, your kindness, or your creativity, but these things are not the foundation of their love. Instead, they are drawn to what is deeper. They see the moments when you choose mercy over anger, when you remain faithful even in struggle, when you forgive even though it hurts. These moments are often hidden, but someone who truly loves you will see them, remember them, and honor them. This kind of love does not focus on perfection. In fact, it is not afraid of imperfection. The person who truly loves you sees your flaws, but they are not discouraged by them. They do not shame you for your weaknesses or compare you to others. They understand that we are all unfinished, all growing, all in need of grace. What makes their love powerful is that they see the goodness in you even when you are broken. They recognize the seeds of virtue that God has planted in your heart, and they want to help you grow, not change you to fit their own idea of who you should be. Es hogarse o pero, como persona de goce. When you are with someone who sees your worth beyond the surface, you do not feel the need to put a war. You do not have to wear a mask or pretend to be stronger than you are. You can rest. You can speak without fear. You can weep without shame. In their eyes, you are not a project to be fixed or a prize to be earned. You are a person to be cherished, and they do not love you for what you can give them. They love you simply for who you are. This kind of love also brings healing. So many people carry wounds from being unseen or misunderstood. They've been loved for what they offer, not for who they are. But when someone comes into your life and looks at you with eyes of compassion, when they take the time to know your heart, when they honor your story, even with its scars, something begins to heal. The love they offer becomes a mirror in which you begin to see yourself more clearly, not through the lens of fear or shame, but through the lens of truth and love. Such love does not vanish when things get difficult. It does not retrieve when you make mistakes. It does not grow cold when your outer strength fades. Instead, it stays. It remains rooted not in what is temporary, but in what is eternal. That is why the person who truly loves you will see your worth when the world turns its back, when your plans fail, or when you are at your lowest. Their love reminds you that your value does not come from your success, your beauty, or your popularity. It comes from the image of God within you, which can never be erased. And perhaps most importantly, this kind of love helps you to begin seeing yourself through God's eyes. It helps you to believe that you are worthy of love, not because you are perfect, but because you are His. When someone treats you with this kind of reverence, it is a reflection of divine love. It lifts you up without inflating your ego. It grounds you in your identity without making you prideful. It gives you the freedom to be yourself fully, freely, and faithfully. To be seen like this is a gift. To be loved like this is a blessing. And to love others in this way is one of the holiest things we can do. In the journey of love, patience is one of the clearest reflections of its authenticity. When someone truly loves you, especially in the way God intends, they do not walk away the moment they encounter your imperfections. They do not recoil at your flaws, nor do they act surprised when you stumble. Instead, they stay, they remain steady, not because you are easy to love all the time, but because love, real love, chooses to remain even when it is difficult. Everyone has weaknesses. Everyone has wounds, habits they are trying to break, memories they are still healing from, and fears they sometimes cannot express. The person who truly loves you is not unaware of these things. In fact, they probably see them more clearly than most, but their love is not frightened by the truth of who you are. They do not need you to be perfect in order to stay close. What they need is only the sincerity of your heart, your willingness to grow, and your openness to be honest. This kind of love is patient in ways the world often fails to understand. It waits for you when you are overwhelmed. It listens to you when you cannot find the right words. It holds space for you when you are unsure of yourself. When you fall into old patterns, when you lash out from pain, when you isolate yourself out of fear or shame, they do not respond with anger or rejection. They respond with tenderness, with grace. They remind you not with judgment, but with gentle presence, that you are still loved, still worthy, still growing. The patience of someone who truly loves you does not mean they overlook harmful behavior or pretend everything is okay when it's not. It means they are willing to walk through the hard parts with you, not as someone who pities you, but as someone who believes in you. They know that transformation is a slow and sacred process, and they are willing to walk beside you through it. They don't fix you. They don't rush you. They simply remain present, offering support, encouragement, and compassion. To be patient with another person is a sign of deep spiritual maturity. It is to reflect the way God loves us, always forgiving, always welcoming, always giving us another chance. The person who truly loves you in this way does not keep score. They do not count how many times you failed or bring up the past to hurt you. Instead, they are rooted in the present moment, helping you take each step with hope. Their patience is not passive. It is active, deliberate, and full of faith. In their presence, you feel safe being imperfect. You feel like you can breathe. You are not afraid to admit when you are wrong because you know they will not throw it in your face. You are not afraid to show your weaknesses because you know they will not exploit them. And even when they are disappointed or hurt, they do not turn that pain into punishment. They speak with love. They confront with mercy. They wait with trust. Love that is patient is not weak, it is strong. It takes strength to stay when it will be easier to leave. It takes courage to forgive again, to hope again, to keep showing up day after day. That is what real love does. It shows up, it stands by you, not just when you're shining, but also when you are in darkness. And it keeps believing that the light in you is not gone, only hidden for a time. The kind of person God sends to love you will not expect you to be perfect. They know you are a work in progress, just as they are. They will love you not despite your flaws, but through them. And in doing so, they will help you heal and grow and become more fully who God created you to be. Patience is not just a sign of love. It is love in action over time. One of the purest signs of real love, the kind that reflects God's own heart, is the willingness to sacrifice without expecting anything in return. When someone truly loves you, they do not keep a list of what they've done for you. They do not remind you of how much they've given or subtly manipulate you with guilt. Their giving is quiet, steady, and sincere. It is not forced, and it is not motivated by what they hope to receive. Instead, it is motivated by love itself, a love that desires your good, your peace, your joy, even at a cost to themselves. The Word teaches us to measure love in terms of convenience. If it's easy, if it feels good, if it benefits both people equally, then it's considered worthwhile. But the love that comes from God is far deeper than convenience. It goes beyond comfort and into the territory of selflessness. This is not dramatic or loud. It often looks like small choices, giving time when time is short, offering help when they are tired, forgiving even when it hurts. Each of these actions may seem ordinary on the surface, but when they are done out of love, they become sacred. This kind of sacrificial love does not wait to act until the conditions are perfect. It doesn't say, I'll give when I have more energy, or I'll show up when it's easy. It shows up when it's hard. It keeps giving even when there is no applause. It is the kind of love that Jesus showed on the cross, utterly self-giving, born not out of obligation, but out of deep, abiding love. It's not about dramatic gestures, it's about daily choices. The willingness to say, I'm here for you, even when it costs me, is a mark of someone who loves with God's kind of love. Such a person doesn't announce their sacrifices. They don't seek recognition. In fact, they often go unnoticed because they serve in quiet, humble ways. They may cancel something important to be with you in a moment of need. They may take on burdens you don't even realize they're carrying simply to lighten yours. They may pray for you in silence, asking nothing in return. Their sacrifices come from a place of freedom, not resentment. They are not trying to earn your affection or prove their worth. They give because they love you and want what is best for you. This love is deeply rooted in maturity. It doesn't panic when plans change. It doesn't demand constant validation. Instead, it understands that real love often requires laying down one's own desires for the sake of the other. That doesn't mean ignoring one's own needs or becoming a doormat. It means that love is willing to put the other first. Not always, not perfectly, but willingly and often. When someone is consistently able to give of themselves without bitterness or pride, that is a strong sign that their love is genuine. When you are loved in this way, it changes you. It makes you feel safe. You begin to understand what it means to be valued, not for what you do, but for who you are. You realize that you are not alone in your struggles, and that someone is willing to walk beside you, even when the road is rough. That realization softens the heart. It teaches you how to love others the same way, not with conditions, but with open hands and a generous spirit. A person who sacrifices for you with joy, with grace, and without calculation is a reflection of God's love in your life. Their actions are not fueled by ego, but by care. Their love does not look for attention, but for ways to serve. And in their quiet self-giving, they become a living reminder of the kind of love we were created for. A love that gives without fear, without limit, and without expectation of reward. One of the most powerful signs that someone truly loves you is their ability to speak the truth with compassion. In a world where many people either avoid difficult conversations or speak harshly without care, someone who loves you in a way that reflects God's heart will always seek to balance honesty with kindness. They will not flatter you just to keep your favor, nor will they wound you with the truth out of pride. Instead, they will speak what needs to be said with a tone and a timing that shows they truly care for your heart. This kind of love understands that truth is not meant to shame, but to guide. Someone who truly loves you will not watch you walk down a destructive path and remain silent just to stay comfortable. But neither will they jump in with criticism that crushes your spirit. Instead, they approach with humility. They will ask questions, listen first, and speak gently. They won't try to dominate the conversation or make you feel small. Their goal is not to win a debate. It is to help you grow, to help you see clearly, and to help you become more of the person God made you to be. The person who truly loves you doesn't enjoy pointing out your faults. In fact, it may even be difficult for them to do so because they know how delicate the heart can be. But their love for you is greater than their fear of discomfort. When they see something that may hurt you in the long run, whether it's a bad habit, a harmful relationship, or a lie you've started to believe, they will gently bring it into the light, not because they think they are better than you, but because they want what is best for you. Their honesty is an act of love. At the same time, this kind of person will also know when not to speak. They understand that not every moment is the right moment. Sometimes what you need most is their presence, not their opinion. Sometimes they wait, they pray, they let the Holy Spirit work in your heart. And when they do speak, they do so from a place of prayerful thought, not impulsive reaction. Their words carry weight, not because they are loud or forceful, but because they are true and spoken with love. When someone truly loves you, their words build you up even when they challenge you. You do not feel condemned, but convicted. You do not feel judged, but understood. Their words may sting at times, but they always point toward healing. You may feel exposed, but never abandoned. That's because their love is not based on your perfection, but on their commitment to your growth. They believe in who you are, and even more, they believe in who you are becoming. This kind of honest love requires courage. It would be easier to stay silent, to keep the peace, to say only what pleases, but real love is willing to take risks. It is willing to have hard conversations because it values truth over comfort, healing over appearance, and growth over approval. And because that love is rooted in compassion, you will always feel that their words come from a place of care, not superiority. At times, you may resist their honesty. You may feel defensive or misunderstood. But even then, their love remains steady. They do not withdraw their affection because you disagreed or reacted poorly. They give you space, but not distance. They remain a steady presence, offering grace while holding on to the truth. And in time, you come to realize that their willingness to speak honestly was not a threat, but a gift. The person who loves you with this kind of truthfulness mirrors the love of Christ, who always told the truth, but never without compassion. He did not avoid the hard topics, but he never crushed the bruised reed. In the same way, someone who truly loves you will not stay silent when it matters, but will always make sure their voice is guided by love, shaped by humility, and grounded in hope for your good. When someone truly loves you, one of the clearest signs is that they inspire you to become the best version of yourself. Not through pressure or control, but through quiet encouragement, steady support, and sincere belief in your potential. They see who you are today with tenderness and who you could become with hope. Their presence becomes a mirror, not just reflecting your strengths, but revealing the goodness and beauty that you may have forgotten or never fully realized. This is not about changing you into who they want you to be. It's about calling forth what God has already placed inside you. Such a person doesn't try to mold you with their expectations. They don't set conditions for their affection or try to push you down a path that is not your own. Instead, they create space for you to grow, to explore, to make mistakes, and to discover who you are in the eyes of God. Their love gives you room to breathe. It strengthens your foundation so you can stretch higher. You don't feel trapped around them. You feel free to learn, free to dream, and most importantly, free to be your true self. When you fall short, as every human being does, they do not belittle you or hold your mistakes against you. They offer you grace, the same grace they know they need for themselves. They remind you that failure is not the end of the story, that growth is often messy, and that transformation takes time. Instead of giving up on you when you're struggling, they remind you of your progress. They help you to see how far you come, even if you still have far to go. Their encouragement is not flattery. It is rooted in truth. They don't compliment just to make you feel good. They recognize your real gifts and speak them aloud when you forget them. They celebrate your efforts, not just your accomplishments. They cheer for your growth even when no one else notices it. Their words are like water to a thirsty soul, refreshing your confidence, reviving your spirit, and reassuring you that you are not alone. They also challenge you, not by criticizing or controlling, but by gently inviting you to rise. If they see you settling for less than what you deserve, they speak up. If they see you losing sight of your values, they remind you of what truly matters. They ask hard questions with kindness, and they push you forward with love. You never feel like you have to earn their respect, but you do feel their faith in you. And that faith can awaken something powerful in your heart, a renewed desire to grow, not for them, but because you know you were created for more. Being loved by someone who calls out your best self is not always easy. Sometimes it means facing truths you'd rather avoid. Sometimes it means confronting your own fears and insecurities. But their love makes it possible because it is not rooted in judgment. It is rooted in hope. They do not see you as broken or unfinished in a negative way. They see you as someone worth investing in, worth believing in, and worth waiting for. This kind of love draws you closer to your God-given identity. It doesn't puff up your ego, but it strengthens your spirit. You begin to make better choices, not out of obligation, but out of a deepening sense of purpose. You begin to walk with more confidence, not because someone is pushing you, but because someone believes in you so deeply that you start believing in yourself too. Love that helps you become who you are meant to be is one of the greatest gifts a person can give. It is the kind of love that lifts without controlling, that supports without smothering, and that inspires without manipulating. It helps you stand taller, live fuller, and love more deeply. And when you encounter this kind of love, it feels like a gentle echo of how God Himself calls, nurtures, and forms you in love.